$3.2 trillion. That is the modern value of the debt that fueled Rome's rise. It paid for legions, siege engines, fleets, and entire wars. It created the world's greatest empire, and in the end, it shattered it. Most people believe Rome fell because the barbarians stormed the gates, but the truth starts centuries before that, in Rome's finances. Imagine Rome at its peak power. Columns towering above marble streets, senators in white robes walking through the forum, legions drilling outside the city walls, dozens of ships anchored along the Tiber. Rome looked unstoppable. Gold flowed into the city like water, victories stretched across maps. But beneath all of that, something dangerous was growing quietly: the cost of expansion and the debt behind every victory. The turning point came in 168 BC. Rome crushed Macedonia at the Battle of Pydna. The plunder brought home was so staggering that Rome suspended direct taxes on its citizens for more than 10 years. Caravans returned loaded with statues, crowns, jewelry, fine weapons, and raw bullion. Crowds cheered as treasure was paraded through the streets. Priests thanked the gods for prosperity. Rome believed it had discovered infinite wealth. But that moment planted the seed of collapse, because Rome discovered that war paid, and paid extraordinarily well. Conquest became a business strategy. The richest Romans began financing battles. They loaned money to generals. They supplied legions. They profited when campaigns succeeded. It was the world's first military-industrial complex. The elite sat in marble villas. They counted interest. They made fortunes without swinging a sword. Everyone else supported the machine beneath them. Originally, Rome used citizen soldiers. Men left their farms for a single campaign. Taxes were minimal. Service was temporary. But Rome expanded into Spain, Greece, North Africa, and Asia Minor. Wars stretched for years, sometimes decades. A farmer could not disappear that long. His land would die. His family would starve. Rome needed a permanent army, and permanent armies are ruinously expensive. By the 2nd century AD, Rome maintained around 30 legions. Each legion consisted of roughly 4,800 soldiers, plus auxiliaries of equal number, plus cavalry, plus engineers, cooks, and armorers. More than 300,000 men in uniform, and supporting them required roads, bridges, fortresses, supply depots, arms factories, naval fleets, medical staff. As much as 80% of the imperial budget was consumed by the military. The empire had grown too large to afford itself. To solve the revenue problem, Rome empowered tax farming corporations called Publicani. Wealthy investors gathered in auction houses. They bid for the right to collect taxes from conquered provinces. They paid the treasury up front. Then they squeezed the provinces to make a profit. Asia alone generated perhaps 20 million denarii every year. Tax collectors traveled from village to village with scrolls and soldiers. They took grain, they took land, they seized property. Roman financial power shifted from government to private wealth. Then expansion slowed. There were no rich enemies left. Rome had reached the limits of geography. Legions were stretched thin across 5,000 miles of borders. Victories shrank, profits shrank, loot shrank, but the costs did not shrink. So the government turned to the mint and changed the money. For centuries, the Roman denarius was trusted across 3 continents. Under Augustus, coins were between 95 and 98% silver. Under Nero, purity slipped into the low 90s. Under Trajan, it continued declining. Under Caracalla, the Antoninianus was introduced. It claimed to be worth 2 denarii, but contained barely enough silver for 1.5. Mint workers melted silver bars in roaring furnaces. Copper was mixed in. Coins became lighter, thinner, weaker. People noticed. By the mid-3rd century, Imperial coins contained as little as 2% silver. The silver coating rubbed off coins in a merchant's hand. Confidence collapsed. Prices exploded across the empire. Records show inflation rates exceeding 6,000% over 2 centuries. Wheat that cost 6 denarii in the 1st century cost more than 100 by the late 2nd century. Soldiers demanded triple pay. Veterans rioted. Merchants refused currency. Villages fell into famine. Diocletian attempted to freeze prices by law in 301 AD. It failed instantly. You cannot legislate value into worthless metal. The wealthy remained safe. Their wealth was stored in villas, farmland, and gold. They feasted while cities crumbled. They expanded their estates. They purchased slaves. They built private fortifications. Meanwhile, the population fell into ruin. Savings evaporated. Closed shops spread across cities. Public baths shut down. Marketplaces went silent. Families sold themselves into slavery to escape taxation. Rome decayed from the inside. By the time the barbarians crossed the Rhine in 406 AD, Rome was already gone. Its economy had died. Its currency had rotted. Its army was unpaid. Its citizens were broken. Its state was hollow. The walls still stood. The statues still shined. But the empire was a corpse. Rome did not fall in a single battle. It collapsed through a financial spiral of debt, elite extraction, forced expansion, and monetary decay. And once the machine slowed, everything fell apart. The ruins we see today are not the cause of Rome's fall. They are the remains. Because financial collapse always happens before physical collapse. That is the lesson Rome leaves behind, and the warning it delivers to us now.